Two things about the year 2020 are true at the same time, and they contradict each other. Ask anyone who lived through it. You get the same two sentences, usually in the same breath. It lasted forever, and it never happened. Both of those are correct. Neither one is a figure of speech. And the reason they're both correct is the same reason this year is going to disappear on you. And the next one, and the one after that, faster every time. Now there is a standard explanation for why time speeds up as you get older. You've almost certainly heard it. It's in every article ever written about this. It's wrong. Not incomplete, wrong. And the real answer changes what you do on an ordinary Tuesday. Here's the explanation you've heard. I want you to notice how right it feels while I say it, because that's the entire problem with it. It goes back to 1877 and a French philosopher called Paul Janet. The idea, every year of your life gets measured against all the life you've already lived. At 10 years old, 1 year is 10% of everything you have ever experienced. It's gigantic. At 50, that same year is 2%. Identical 365 days. 1/5 of the weight. Elegant, intuitive. Feels like it has to be true, so let's test it. If that were really the mechanism, the compression would be perfectly smooth. Every year a little faster than the one before forever, on a clean, predictable curve. In 2005, two researchers, Mark Whitman and Sandra Lenhoff, surveyed several hundred people, from teenagers up to people in their 90s. And the results broke that model in two separate places. First, when they asked how fast the last week had felt, or the last month, the answers barely changed with age. A week feels like a week whether you're 19 or 71. The arithmetic says it shouldn't. Second, the acceleration people did report climbed until around age 50 and then flattened out. Clean curves don't flatten. So the maths isn't the answer. Something else is running. Let me give you a puzzle before I give you the mechanism. Think about the best week of travel you've ever had. While it was happening, it flew. Gone in a blink. But when you look back at it now, it feels enormous. Weeks long, full of separate, distinct days. Now think about an ordinary week at work. It dragged. Every hour of it was visible to you. And 2 months later, it's gone completely. You cannot pull one individual day out of it. Same 7 days. Opposite verdicts. So which one was actually longer? The answer is that the question is broken because you're not running one clock. You're running two, and they disagree with each other constantly. The first one is live. It's ticking right now while you watch this, and it runs on attention, bored, and you notice time, and it crawls, absorbed, and it vanishes. The second one is retrospective. It's what you use when you look back and ask, how long was that? And it does not care about attention at all. It runs on exactly one thing. How much distinct material actually got written down? The travel week wrote a lot. The work week wrote nothing. This is where it gets really interesting. In 2007, a neuroscientist called David Eagleman wanted to find out where that written record actually comes from. People who survive crashes and falls consistently report that time slowed down. And the obvious explanation is that perception speeds up under threat, like a camera switching into slow motion. So he dropped people off a tower, genuinely, 31 meters. Free fall into a net, about 2.5 seconds. And he strapped a device to each person's wrist, a small screen flickering numbers slightly too fast to read under normal conditions. If perception really did accelerate, they'd be able to read it on the way down. Nobody could. Not one person. But afterwards, when he asked them how long the fall had lasted, they overestimated it by roughly 1/3. So perception never slowed down. What actually happened is that under extreme novelty, The brain massively increased how densely it was recording, and a denser recording plays back longer. Time didn't stretch. The file size went up. Okay, try this one. Name your 5 most vivid memories. Not the most important ones, the most vivid. The ones you can still actually see. I'd bet almost anything that 4 of them happened before you were 25. And that isn't sentimentality. It's measurable. Psychologists call it the reminiscence bump. Ask a 70-year-old for their clearest memories, and they don't spread evenly across 7 decades. They cluster hard into a 10-year window between roughly 15 and 25. The reason is that inside that window, almost everything is a first. First time driving. First city you moved to alone. First job. First heartbreak. First time you realized your parents were just people. Every one of those gets recorded at full resolution because your brain has no template to compress it against. Then adulthood arrives. And adulthood is extraordinarily good at precisely one thing: building templates, a route to work, a supermarket, a rotation of about 6 meals, a commute you could complete unconscious. And every time an experience matches a template you already have, your brain doesn't record the whole thing. It files a pointer. Same as last time. It's why you can drive home and arrive with no memory of the journey. Nothing new happened, so nothing new got written. Look, and this isn't a malfunction. It's compression. It's what any sensible storage system does with repeated data. The cost is that a low novelty year leaves almost no record behind. And when you look back into a year and find nothing in it, it reads as short because from the inside, an empty year and a short year are completely indistinguishable. Now you might be thinking, my life is not empty. My life is relentless. I have never been busier, right? And here's the uncomfortable version of everything I've just said. Optimizing your life is a technology for making it shorter. Because busy and novel are not the same thing. They're usually opposites. The busier you get, the harder you optimize. And optimizing means stripping variation out. You take the same route because it's fastest. You order the same thing because deciding costs energy you don't have. You automate the decisions to protect yourself. Every one of those is a completely rational choice, and every one of them deletes recording material. You can spend a decade at absolute maximum effort and generate almost no retrospective time at all. Which brings us back to where we started. Endless while it was happening. Because the live clock was bored out of its mind, and boredom is what makes you watch a clock. And avoid in hindsight, because the retrospective clock got handed the same day, 300 times in a row. It lasted forever, and it never happened. Both true, 2 clocks. So what do you actually do with this? Something smaller than you'd expect. If retrospective time is built out of novelty, then it isn't fixed. It's an input. And the input is cheap, because your brain doesn't record significance. It records difference. A different route home, a meal you've never cooked once, a conversation with somebody who disagrees with you, one weekend a month somewhere your feet have never been. None of that slows the live clock. You'll still hit December wondering where the year went. But you'll have something to find when you go looking for it. Here's what I keep coming back to. We measure a life in years. But nobody actually experiences years. What you experience is the record, the part you can retrieve and revisit and hold. Which means 2 people can live the identical 72 years and end up with completely different amounts of life inside them. Those 4 memories from before you were 25, they aren't vivid because you were young. They're vivid because it was all new. That's the only difference. That's the whole mechanism. And the good news, the slightly uncomfortable good news, is that it never switched off. It's still running right now, it's just sitting there, waiting for something it hasn't seen before. So the real question isn't why the years keep getting shorter. It's what you're going to put in the next one.